Hello guys, welcome back to this series. And in this part of the video, we're going to be creating this UI over here. So from the previous video, this is what we have now. We have this skeleton over here. Without much further ado, let's get started. So first of all, let's get our image. I already have this image over here. So I will create an assets folder over here. Assets. Let's call it assets. And then I drag my image inside my asset. So after creating your assets folder and dragging your image into it, in order to use this image, you need to go into your perspec.yaml file, and then you scroll down to the part where it says assets, which is over here, and then you remove the comment, and then you add the link to your asset, which is asset, and then we remove this part. Control S to save, and then let's stop our application from running. So once that is done, we can go back to our main.dat and then run our program again. Let's create a new dot file. Let's call this info.dat, and in this file, let's use a stateless widget. So let's import our material.dat of Flutter. And our stateless widget, let's call this info page. Control S to save. It is done launching. Now let's start with the edit. So inside our info.dat file, we return a scaffold. The const. And in this scaffold, let's set the background color. Let's set it to color.gray. And the body, let's set center child, and let's give it a colon widget. So inside this colon widget, the children, the first one will be image dot asset. That means we are getting our image from an asset. Let's give our name. So the asset of this image is assets, and inside the assets folder we have whatsapp dot png. And the next thing we have is a text. So let's give it a const. Let's give it a space size box. Let's set the height of this size box to 20. And then below that, the next thing we do is we add our text, which is WhatsApp web. So you can use a text widget. Let's say WhatsApp web. And let's style this text. Let's give it text style. And let's set the size. First of all, let's set it to 32. And let's give this a const over here. Let's save this and see the output. It is still the same thing because we are not using this info.dat file. So in our home.dat file, inside this expanded widget, so inside this container, we return our info page, and then we import our page. So let's give it a const over here. Let's save this and see the output. So you can see it's looking a little bit like the WhatsApp web. The next thing we do is let's reduce the image size. Let's reduce the image size. So the image, we can reduce the size by reducing the width. Let's set it to 50. And let's set the height to 50 as well. Let's save this and see the output. No, that's not good. Let's remove this part. Let's keep it this way. And for the font weight, let's reduce the font weight to a lighter version. Let's set it to font weight 200. Control S to save, then we see the output. So this is it, we have it over here. The next thing we do is this text below it right over here, the text below it. So for that, we can use another text widget. And inside this text widget, we can type in our text, which is send and receive messages without keeping your phone online. Let's say send, and then let's duplicate this comma over here. Let's type the next one, which says use WhatsApp. Let's set this main, the axis alignment, let's set it to center. Control S to save, then we see the output. So this is it right here. looking like the WhatsApp web we have over here. So the next thing we need to do is build the chat and contact area. So for that, in order to build that, for now, let's use the list view. Inside this list view, we set the children. So first of all, let's give it a list style. So this list style on the left side would contain our image, which is the leading parameter. So for the leading parameter, let's set it to avatar. So we can go up here, then copy the circle avatar we used before. We can copy that and paste it over here. And then for our title, which is the person's name, we can say John Smith. For now, we are going to be doing everything hard-coded, but later on we are going to be using Firebase to fetch our database and also to send the messages. And then our subtitle, which would contain also a text. Let's say hello John. So let's save this and see the output. So this is what we have now right over here. So let's give a line at the bottom of the list style. So in order to achieve that, let's wrap our list style inside a column, and then let's use a divider right over here. So this divider, let's give it a colors dot black. Let's use black 45. Let's give it thickness of 2. Let's save this and see the output. See, we have a line over here. There's a line over here, you can see that. So now the next thing we can do, looking at our next screen, I think the next thing we can do is add the time over here. So for that, we can say inside our list style, you can set the trailing. You can set it to a text widget. Let's say 5:23 p.m. And now let's duplicate our column 3 times. 2. So we can see this is it. We have it right here. But then let us reduce the thickness of the divider. So for the divider, I think we should reduce the thickness to 1. That is much better now. And the next thing we can do now is copy this. Let's create a new file first. Let's say chat.docs. Let's call this contacts rather, contact dot dat, and let's import our material dot dat. Let's create a stateful widget. Let's call this contact list page, and then let's copy this into our contact page. So we have the expanded over here, so let's copy our expanded. Let's copy the list view rather. Let's copy the list view, Control X to copy, and inside our contact.dat we return the list view. Let's save this, and in this expanded, let's return our contacts list page, and we import it. With this, and then we import. Let's add our const variable over here. Let's save. Let's see the output. So this is the output. Nothing has changed. It's still the same. So everything seems to be working. Now that is perfect. So the next thing we're going to do is build this chat screen over here. So in order to achieve that, first of all, let's go back to our contact.dat. Let's copy everything we pasted. The list view, Control X to cut. Let's return a scaffold for now. Control S to save. Let's go back into our home expanded where the contact list page is. Let's remove this const. Let's paste it back where it was. And then let's remove this semicolon to a comma. Control S to save. And for now, let's remove the two we pasted. Let's remove them again. Let's remove this one as well. Control S to save as well. So for now, this is what we're going to do. Before we start using the Firebase and all that, this is what we are going to do for now to test our project. So we come over here into our class, then let's create a bool. Let's call this chat. Let's set it to false by default. Let's come down over to our list tile, and inside our list tile, let's set the on tap parameter. So for the on tap parameter, we set it to a function. So let's say, and inside this function, let's use set state. So set state is used to save the state of your app. So inside the set state, let's set the chat to set state is also used if you want to update the UI while there are changes in the state of the application. So let's set this to true. And then let's create a new file. Let's call this chat screen dot. Let's import our material. Let's say stateful widget. Let's call this chat screen. And let's return a scaffold. In the body, let's say center child text. And let's say hello. Let's save this. Ctrl S to save. So inside our home page, inside this expanded widget returning the info, we can remove this const and then we say chat, and then if the chat is true, we should return our chat screen, else we return our info page. And then let's import our chat screen. Let's put the const everywhere to remove the errors. So now let's save and see the output. So this is it. Once we click on our tile, it opens our chat screen. So everything seems to be working. But before, let me go over the code again. So inside our class, inside our stateful class, we created this bool and set it to false. And then for our list style right over here, we say each time our list style is being tapped on, we should set the chat to true. And we are using the set state because we want to update the UI. And over here we say if the chat is true, we return our chat screen, else we return our info page. And this is our chat screen with a scaffold widget returning a text at the center. So let's start our chat screen. So first of all, we have this up bar right over here, and then the text area, which is at the bottom, and then the messages area. So for that, let's use a column. And inside this column, inside the children parameter, let's return expanded widgets. Let's say container color. Let's remove this const. Let's duplicate this 3 times. Let's say blue for this one, green, comma over here, and a comma over here. So Ctrl S to save, then we see the output. Let's give it another comma over here. Ctrl S to save, then let's see the output. Let's open our chat. So we can see it over here. So they are evenly distributed, but we want the messages area, which is the blue one, to occupy most of the page. So for that, we can set the flex of this expanded. We can set the flex to 3. Ctrl S to save, then we see the output. So we can see that it's occupying most of the page. So first of all, inside this part, we can set the width and say double dot infinity. Control S to save. So after setting the width to double dot infinity, the next thing we do is set up the top up bar. For that, we can go back into our home.dat file and let's copy the align widget, everything in the align widget. So let's copy that. Control C to copy. And let's paste it over here in this container part. Let's paste it over here. Let's remove this row. Let's remove it. I, I don't think we need to. Let's just remove two of the icons here. Let's save. Let's see the output. So this is it. We have a circle avatar which would contain the profile image, and then the two icons over here, which is supposed to be the search, and then the menu. So let's remove this white space over here. So we can remove that by setting the flex of this container to 8. And then let's change this icon to search. Let's change this one to menu. A search with a small h here. Control S to save. Let's see the output. So this is it now. We have a white space removed. The image is over here. Our two icons. So the next thing we need to do is the name of the user or the number. So we can say inside the circle avatar, below that, let's add a size box. We can say const size box, a comma, and let's say width. Let's set the width to 10. And then below that, we create our element. And below that, we create our widget. So a text widget, let's give it the name of John Smith. Everything, including the name, will all come from the database we are going to set up. So John Smith, let's save that and see how it looks. So we have it over here, but it's in the center. We want it to be over here. So in order to fix that, let's remove, first of all, let's remove this. Let's cut this run. And let's wrap our circle avatar. Let's wrap it inside another row. And let's paste it over here. And also our const size box. Let's put it over here. Let's give it a width of 10. And the comma comes over here. So let's save this and see the output. We have it looking like it should. Over here we have it the same. That looks much better. So the next thing we do is the text area, which should be over here at the bottom. The text area over here, over here. So we can start by set the color to gray dot shade 200. Let's give it a child. Let's give it a row. And inside the children, for the first one, let's give it these two icons over here, the emoji and then the attachment icon. So we could say icon. So let's give it the emojis outlined. And then the next one is the attachment. Let's say attach. Control S to save, then we see the output. So this is it. We have them two over here, but let's paste them a little bit. So we can use a size box over here. So we can say size box. Then we can set the width to 10. Let's put the comma over here. The next thing we do inside this row is to create our text area. So we can achieve that by creating another container. And then let's set the box, the decoration. Let's set the decoration to box decoration. Let's see. So over here, it's got the color of white and then a border radius as well. So we can say color, then colors dot white. Then we should set the border radius as well. Let's set border radius dot circular. Let's set it to 12. Let's put a comma over here, a comma over here as well. The next thing we can do is set the child of this container. Let's give it text field. And inside this text field, the decoration, let's give it input decoration dot. Let's give it the border. So here we say input border dot none. And let's give it the hint text. Let's say type message. And also we shouldn't forget to size our container so the text area can have a specific width it should take. So for the width, let's set it to 700. And then let's add this icon over here, which should be, let's copy this. Let's paste it over here below our container. And let's change this to mic. And let's save to see the output. So we have it over here now. So we can give it some spacing. So for that, let's wrap this inside a row. Let's wrap it inside a row. And for this row, let's set the main axis alignment. Let's set it to space between. Space. Space. Let's use space evenly. Space evenly. So Control S to save. Alright, so this is it now. Looking like it should. But before that, inside our container, let's give it a pattern. Let's give it pattern on the horizontal. So let's say pattern edge insert dot symmetric. Let's set the horizontal. Let's give it a pattern of 12. Let's save that and see the output. So we have it like this now. Yeah, so much better now. So that will be it for this video. In the next one, we're going to be implementing the Firebase and the backend that can allow us to send messages and also create accounts. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more.